NBC News politics reporter Megan Leibowitz joins us now with the latest on this. Megan, good morning. So the last time we had a government shutdown was President Trump's first term. It was back in 2018. That one lasted more than a month. What can we expect today when the Senate returns to Capitol Hill?
Yeah, that's right. So the Senate will come back this afternoon where we're expecting them to vote yet again on these Republican and Democrat-led versions of these funding bills. Now, remember, these bills have already been voted on multiple times, and they've failed every single time. Now, over the weekend, there was no indication that there's been further movement to potentially push either of these bills over the finish line here. And like you mentioned, the House is not going to be in session this week either. So originally, the House was expected to come back tomorrow, but that changed and was pushed back to next week. And so we're not expecting any votes in the House either. Now, Republicans over the weekend were continuing to push Democrats to switch their votes to try to back this short-term continuing resolution, which would provide temporary funding for the government. But for Democratic leaders, the message has been continuing to be, let's address health care first. That's been a top issue for Democrats, where they want to address these ACA subsidies that are set to expire, Joe.
Yeah, and no surprise, obviously, these congressional leaders are trying to blame each other nearly a week into the shutdown. What are they saying about just where any negotiations stand right now? How dug in is each side, as many federal workers now do face the potential for layoffs?
Yeah, so both sides were continuing to blame each other over the weekend, accusing each other of not being open to negotiations or not negotiating in good faith. I want you to take a listen to what House Speaker Mike Johnson and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries had to say over the weekend. Take a listen.
The reason the government is closed is because Chuck Schumer and 43 of his Democrat colleagues in the Senate have decided now to vote multiple times to keep the government closed. We need them to turn the lights back on so that everyone can do their work. The House did our work. We passed a bipartisan, clean, continuing resolution to keep the government open.
Last time there was a conversation with Republican leadership was in the White House meeting last Monday, and unfortunately, since that point in time, Republicans, including Donald Trump, have gone radio silent. Our view is that we will find bipartisan common ground with our Republican colleagues to reopen the government.
And like you mentioned as well, you know, this comes as White House officials have said that this could lead to layoffs of federal workers if this continued. And President Trump even said last night that this is happening right now. So that's something that we're keeping an eye on today as well.
And Megan, lawmakers might be pointing the finger at each other, but many Americans just feel there is plenty of blame to go around. A lot of Americans, they're in the middle. They don't have a strong, belief in one party or the other. What is the polling data telling us right now?
Yeah, so I want to point you to a new CBS News YouGov poll that came out over the weekend, where more people tended to blame Republicans in Congress and President Trump for the shutdown. So 39% of respondents cast blame mostly on the president and the GOP for the shutdown, while about 30% cast blame on Democrats, about 31% said that they were all equally to blame. Now, a caveat here is that, this is very early still. And now it's coming still as federal workers are not getting paychecks, and we're seeing federal programs and services that are on pause right now as the shutdown is happening. But the longer that this continues, the more that we're going to be watching to see where this public opinion polling plays out, and if that ultimately impacts how lawmakers are thinking about their future votes to come, Joe.
All right, Megan, thank you so much.